Netflix has a pretty decent lineup for Halloween this year, with a new serial killer series that looks particularly good, some terrific throwback Halloween flicks, and I'm even going to recommend some largely overlooked Netflix original movies that have actually held up over time, as well as some of the absolute best horror you can catch on Netflix this month. Thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. We'll talk more about them in a bit, but first up, I will tell you about that new serial killer series. On October 3rd, they're releasing Monster, the Ed Gein story. This is from the same people that brought you Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Last year, it was the Menendez brothers. If you don't know, Ed Gein is a particularly awful serial killer. In fact, his story inspired movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Charlie Hunnam actually plays the killer in this series. I think he's a highly underrated actor, so I am interested to see what he brings to the table for this character. I also don't know a whole lot about this character outside of some of the movies his story inspired.
You're working too fast.
I'm sorry, Mother.
Just go slow and steady.
On the 9th, they're adding the entire Maze Runner trilogy. Not necessarily a strong Halloween recommendation, but if you've got some tweens in the house, this could make a fantastic, frightening watch that isn't too intense, particularly the first one. I think it's a pretty exceptional movie.
Day one, Greenie. Rise and shine.
And then the only thing I'm mentioning on this video that is not directly related to Halloween is House of Dynamite, and the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it's a pretty hot-looking new series. It stars Rebecca Ferguson and is directed by Catherine Bigelow, who did Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker. Hell, she even directed Point Break. And it's from writer Noah Oppenheim, who actually wrote The Maze Runner, believe it or not. So this new series coming out at the end of the month has quite a bit of heat behind it. I'm interested to see if it delivers. But over the years, Netflix has produced a lot of Netflix original horror movies. A lot of them are pretty terrible and forgettable, but it's been a while now, so I actually have a short bench of excellent Netflix original horror movies, starting with Blood Red Sky, a fantastic vampire flick. It is foreign language, so you will need to read subtitles, but there is a good dubbed version, like there is with a lot of Netflix originals. But this takes place on an overnight flight and is basically vampires on a plane. It's not silly though, it actually plays things pretty straight and is a fairly intense movie. So you get some hostage elements, like you do with movies like Air Force One and Executive Decision, while also getting a pretty fantastic and pretty bloody vampire movie.
He wants to get away from the sun. Let's give her some.
The Ritual is one of the creepiest Netflix original movies I think ever released, and this thing still holds up. It was actually produced by Guillermo del Toro, and he actually helped create one of the creature designs in it. But this is a dark and moody movie about a group of backpackers that get lost in the woods. There's some like Nordic mythology wedged in there as well, and the movie is just creepy as hell. It does take quite a while to wind up, but it is ultimately well worth the wait. I feel like The Ritual delivers better than a lot of Netflix original movies do across any genre. Another great Halloween pick is Apostle. This one's also creepy as hell and gothic, but not quite a full-blown horror movie. While there are some scares in it, this is not one that's just going to terrify you. This is much more of an intriguing mystery with some H.P. Lovecraft touches to it, which makes it a fantastic Halloween flick. It's got all the little dark Halloween touches you're gonna want without it being excessively violent or brutal, even though it kind of skirts the edge. It ultimately felt kind of incomplete to me. I wanted more out of this movie, not just a sequel, but more out of this particular movie. That said, I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it stands out as one of the more unique Halloween picks on this list.
Please, Lord, forgive us.
Now, for kind of a standard supernatural horror movie. You know, the kind designed to scare teenagers. There was one released in 2025 that is loaded with surprises. It's titled Until Dawn. Now, this is loosely based on a PlayStation video game, a game I actually played, a game that's quite good, yet you do not need to know any of that to thoroughly enjoy this movie. In fact, the movie departs from the game quite a bit, while also implementing kind of a game-like structure. Now, I'll say, Until Dawn seemed like it was going to be an insanely intense horror movie at the beginning. My wife wasn't even quite sure if she was going to be able to stand it. The movie gets lighter, more interesting, and ultimately more fun the further along you go. Some people found that to be a bit silly. I found it to be just really entertaining. And again, this one took me by surprise way more than movies in this particular genre tend to do.
Up the road. That's why people get into trouble.
Which brings me to like some of the best horror movies that are currently on Netflix. Veronica is a fantastic pick. Now, this one is Spanish language, but oh my goodness, if you love movies like The Exorcist or The Omen, and yes, I do mean the originals, there's a lot to love with Veronica, but tread lightly. This one is one of the scarier movies on this list. And then He Never Died is an awesome Halloween watch. Now, it's gory, it's bloody, it's a bit funny and not really scary at all. He Never Died is not really a horror movie, but man, does it have some dark and disturbing themes. Obviously, Henry Rollins is the lead here, and he is fantastic. In fact, this movie has a lot in common with like classic Bruce Campbell movies. Not quite Evil Dead, but you know, a lot of the other stuff Bruce Campbell did, this has a lot in common with it. In common with that and the classic show Supernatural, my wife loved that show and really enjoyed this movie a lot. But for me, as a fan of Henry Rollins, I think He Never Died is required viewing.
Probably just gonna go kill another room full of people. You are?
Probably.
Come on!
If you like the idea of an endless stream of movie recommendations like these, you're in the right place. Just click that subscribe button. I put out 1 or 2 videos every single week. And then I'll mention they've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. They also have a Netflix original remake available. But my goodness, as far as horror on Netflix in October this year, it doesn't get a whole lot better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it is required viewing for horror movie fans. In fact, you can't even really call yourself a horror movie fan until you've seen this thing. And I gotta say, as disturbing and dark as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, it holds up, not just as a masterpiece of horror filmmaking, but it really is masterful filmmaking. It's as effective as this movie could possibly be, making it one of my top picks for the month.
Hello? Hello?
Now, they're also adding a whole bunch of Halloween picks on October 1st. Before I fire through those recommendations, I do want to tell you how today's sponsor, Delete Me, helped me protect my personal data, which is so important nowadays. Unfortunately, nearly everyone's personal information, including your name and address, is being sold online by data brokers. What's worse is anyone can purchase this information, and having all your private details available on an open marketplace like that opens you up to identity theft, harassment, stalking, and makes you a prime target for phishing scams. But you and I have the right to protect our personal information. To do so, you'd have to contact all of these data brokers repeatedly until you could prove that they removed your information, which would take an unimaginable amount of time. This is what Delete Me does for you. In fact, they give you a quarterly report showing you how much time they saved you. You can see the sites they're actively removing you from and the sites you've been cleaned from completely. The best part is this was super simple to set up. It took less than 5 minutes. Now I just get this quarterly report, way less junk in my email inbox, and my phone doesn't ring from telemarketers all day. Right now, my viewers can save 20% off Delete Me's consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/flick. Delete Me can even help protect your entire family with a family plan. So follow my link, get that deal. It's a service I highly recommend. But speaking of things I highly recommend, let's get on with the rest of the Netflix recommendations. On October 1st, Netflix is adding Sinister 2, a truly terrifying movie. I don't think it's glued together perfectly, making it not great for rewatches, but if you're just wanting to turn the lights out and get the crap scared out of you this October, Sinister 2 is going to be a great way to go.
Nobody ever comes out here. That was terrible what happened.
And then Death Becomes Her is the Robert Zemeckis classic, which is absolutely loaded with what were cutting-edge special effects back then. The effects are not quite as eye-popping today as they were back when it released, but this movie was still cutting-edge, and it's still a funny, dark, satirical comedy. If you want something even more classic, though, they're also adding Dracula, the original from 1931. Even if you don't watch this one, aesthetically, this could make for like a great Halloween decoration just to put on during a party or something like that. But they've already got Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one from the 90s, directed by Coppola. My goodness, I know this movie got weird mixed reviews and a lot of people don't like it, but it is just a dazzling movie. I mean, visually stunning in every way imaginable, and just about everything you're seeing is in camera, not to mention that incredible Gary Oldman performance. For the kids, they've got the 90s classic Casper, a fun throwback movie to watch with the kids. It kind of makes them feel like they're watching a horror movie because there are some light scares in it, but the movie is just a lot of fun and a great throwback, especially for people my age. I was probably like 8 or 9, the same age as my kids when this movie came out. But it didn't get much better than Goonies. They currently have that on Netflix. It's not on there often. Not quite a horror movie, but certainly a pretty amazing Halloween watch with relatively young kids. We're gonna wrap this list up with a few more that they're adding on October 1st, like Red Dragon, the finale of the Anthony Hopkins Hannibal Lecter movies. Even though I believe in the books, this one came out first. If you've ever seen Michael Mann's Manhunter, a movie I recommend here all the time, that's over on Prime Video. Red Dragon is based on the same book, but uses Anthony Hopkins so that it ties together with the other 2 Hannibal Lecter movies he did. Also adding the original The Strangers. There's a new The Strangers out in theaters, but the original is not only the best, it is easily the most terrifying and probably one of the more frightening movies available on Netflix this month. And then finally, also on October 1st, they're adding The Wrath of Becky, a movie I have not seen yet. It's a horror comedy with a fair amount of action in it, and it's a sequel to Becky, which also starred Kevin James. So that's going to be on my watch list for October. Here's a recap of the list. I hope you found something good to watch. Don't forget to check out the Delete Me link down in the video description, but I will keep making these videos as long as y'all keep watching them. Thanks for watching this Netflix list, and you will see me on the next one.